everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Benton with the Chris and Sandy Show. We'll get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great one for you. We got Taylor Hughes coming on. She's a great friend of ours.
Yes.
I don't know if you'd consider this the second interview or third interview because our second interview kind of had technical difficulties.
Right.
So let's hope
Yes.
that. So we threw that one out and said, let's redo.
Let's redo it.
So here we are. So welcome back to the show.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and thank you all for having me. I'm glad we could work this out, and hopefully this time around everything goes smooth.
Absolutely.
So, as a repeat from last time, how has COVID affected you, and what have you done to kind of maneuver through this crazy new world we live in?
Yeah, well, I guess things have started to lighten up a little bit, which is great. Since the beginning of this year, I've been pretty much doing mini tours and stuff like that. I've been out playing music, as soon as they started opening things back up last August. And, when I had released my first single and had my first interview with you all, and we were kind of still stuck inside, like COVID had just started.
Right.
I had never released music before, so I was like, well, this will be interesting. Who do you ask advice from, since none of us have been through this kind of thing before? But the first single went really well. I was able to though we weren't able to play as many shows last year, my writing just grew and grew and grew. I wrote a ton, started writing with new people. My following actually and my fan base grew a lot. I'm over in the UK and over in Australia, which has been a total blessing, is because of these live streams and stuff that I started to dive into, and people were sharing them and reaching, all over the world. So not all bad things last year. And then obviously I just released my second single in February, and that one's been doing really well. Like I said, we've been touring since the first weekend of January. I've been on tour with Audra McLaughlin. We've been co-headlining just an acoustic tour for 2 months. And I'm back in Kentucky today playing a show tonight, and I head back to Nashville tomorrow morning to play a show in Hendersonville on Saturday night. So
things are picking back up.
Yeah,
that's like with us. We launched a show January 2020 and had no idea COVID was about to happen. Our original plan was 100 interviews. We thought, if we could just do that.
Wow, that would be a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
And we thought that was pushed, to be honest. We thought that would take everything out of us to do 100 interviews first year. And then COVID happens. And I remember looking at Sandy thinking, oh, wow, the entertainment industry just got shut down. This could be our time, because they're going to need a place to talk. And we're going to kind of give them that. And because of that, we did over 300 interviews last year, and we're close to 400 now.
That's crazy to think about. It's since you're stuck at home, let's do live streams, right?
And it's crazy because we actually got the interview recently. This was pretty cool. My mom, she passed away years ago, but she would have freaked on this one. But we got to interview the actress that played Sheila Carter on The Young and Restless.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I saw that actually.
I mean, the most villain ever.
The evilest, villainous ever. Yeah.
And so my mom would freak if she would have, because Sheila was one of them that you hated, but you also loved.
Right. Yeah. No. I remember growing up, and my mom still watches soap operas and stuff. And I had an aunt and an uncle that were on one, and that's how they met.
Oh wow.
Wow.
I think it was Another World. I think is.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So the soap opera thing is kind of in my family too, but I make fun of my mom for watching it all the time. I'm like, "Are you watching this again?" She's like, "I love it."
Oh wow.
I love that. Yes. So what's new with you?
Well, obviously the new single that I just released in February, Praying to the Whiskey. That was a co-write with my dad. So super excited to get that out, just because one, releasing more music, and it's also been just an introduction to, hey, my dad is a writer too. So that's been a lot of fun. We've been scheduling a ton of shows here recently. I'm pretty much booked through August, which
Oh, wow.
Super great. Our tour, mine and Audra's tour, was so successful. It was only supposed to be like a month-long thing, and it ended up spreading out into like March and April. And her and I are actually going to be traveling to, even further away, to new states and new cities, which was actually my goal last year, was to play in, new states, new cities, meet new fans, grow that base. So now we just kind of moved it to this year, which is fine. But yeah, just rolling with the punches and working on my next single release, and actually in the works for hopefully releasing an album somewhat soon. Like I said, in quarantine, I wrote a ton. And I have a lot of songs I'm really excited about, and a lot of co-writers that really got me like really wanting to just release more and more music. So we're kind of working on that right now.
Awesome. Now, anybody that's watching this live or replay, share.
Yes, please.
But anyway, a lot of hosts would ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? But I always like to go deeper than that. When did it kind of click that this could actually be a career choice for you?
Yeah. Well, I think we might have talked about this the first time we had an interview, but like I always loved to sing ever since I was a little girl. But I don't think it really like clicked for me that like I was actually, maybe I was good enough to do this, and that it was a job, it was a career, and it wasn't just for fun. Probably when I was 18. Towards the end of high school, because I was super involved in athletics and stuff, and I blew my knee out my junior year of high school.
Wow.
That kind of ended my sport career, which was I was supposed to go to college on a volleyball scholarship. So that's when I started diving into music a little bit more. I started taking guitar lessons. My parents had no idea that I could sing, and, my guitar teacher, Polly Felice, is actually the one who took me to Nashville and was like, your daughter sings, we're going to put her on stage.
Wow.
That's really how I got my start. My first venue I ever played in Nashville was the Nashville Palace, which is still a super popular honky tonk down there. I love to go there. I haven't been there in a while, but whenever I can get down there, it always brings back really good memories. But yeah, I was probably about 18, 19 when I was like, okay, I think I could do this. I did go to college for a few years, went for about 3 years. And then at the end of my first semester of my junior year, I went to my dad and was like, you know what? I think I'm done with the whole school thing.
Wow.
And most parents would be like, excuse me? But my dad was like, all right, we're doing this. We're all in. There is no
I love that attitude because,
and
I think a lot of times parents think, I know that they try to push their kids for school and to be a doctor and lawyer and all that. And I think sometimes it's the fear that does it because, they see the Blake Sheltons and they see the broke people, but they don't really see that there's so many levels in between that within music that you could make a living and never be known.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are so many unbelievably successful people that like I get a lot of my influence from, and I could probably say a lot of my friends have no idea who they are. That doesn't mean that they're not touring constantly, making a great living at it and doing what they love. And that's funny that you kind of mentioned that because, when I first started, obviously, like the goal is, I want to be a superstar, I think as you, at least for me, as I've gotten into my career a little bit more, my goals have changed a little bit. What I see as success has changed, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
most definitely. And you talking about the injury and stuff. It seems like there's been a lot of singers that's what pushed them into music too. Because we've heard so many stories where they were athletic and they were going up that ladder. They got college scholarships and all that, and then bam, injury happens, and then they went to their other passion, which was music.
Yes. It's funny because, things happen to us in life and sometimes we don't really understand at that moment. But I always say like it was a total blessing in disguise because it's really what pushed me to really like get into it. I'd always wanted to do it, but like I said, my parents didn't even know I sang. So it wasn't like anything that people took seriously. And It was definitely a blessing from God that was like, hey, you're done with sports. Let's get
it's time to move.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because a lot of times people think that a closed door is such a hurtful thing, but sometimes God closes that door so that you can push you into where He wants you to go.
Absolutely, yeah, I totally believe in that 100%.
And we do too. There's so many things that's guided us through our 18 years of marriage, where it's like, okay, we went through this door and that door, and things get shut, and it's like so many times through our marriage, we would get to the point where we're at the edge of a breakthrough. And then it would just crash.
Oh, yes.
Because we've launched, probably 100 business ideas in our 18 years of marriage, and they would all make enough money for us to survive during that point. But then it would just crash, and we're like, okay, we can't just. It's like a wall here, like trying to get through this wall, and then and now we look back, we're like, okay, it all had to crash for this opportunity with the show.
Yeah, for us to be here.
It's all about being able to just adjust and roll with the punches. And, even like the whole COVID thing, I know it's been really hard on a lot of artists. And I think it was, for me, what I saw was there were two routes. It was either give up completely or find a new way to do it.
It's a gut check.
Yeah, it most certainly is. And for me, like, I wasn't raised a quitter, and I was like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to we'll do what it takes. It might, some plans will change, but like we'll survive. We will make this work. So
yeah, and that's what's sad is and I guess the gut check for a lot of people is do they really want this? That was what 2020 was. Because I've seen a lot of people on Facebook that was packing up, leaving Nashville now, and they're going back to trying to do their other stuff. And all I could think about is they're going to regret that. I mean, you should at least go all the way out until all options are closed.
Absolutely.
So that way you have no regrets.
Oh yeah. Well, that's definitely a thing for me. Like I always joke around that, like, I fear nothing except failure. And, and for me, if I ever stopped doing music, I know I would regret it instantly. So it's just one of those things where, like, yeah, there's bumps in the road, and it's definitely hard for an independent artist, but I truly believe, like, that's why I was put on this earth. So, like, I'm going to do whatever I can to just play because I love it,
That's just like our show. We're kind of chasing the same dream y'all are. And we have our ups and downs, and probably every week I have a pity party where, you know what, I'm quitting. Is it? It's over. And she has to pull me down from that little pity party. Thank God I got her.
We all go through that.
Because it's so tough. And then on top of that, you've got a lot of something I've been noticing is a lot of your big artists now are doing their own podcast interviewing artists. And I'm sitting there like, okay, the competition was already tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
For this type of show, and now we got to compete with them too.
Right? You're like, everyone's got the same idea. What is
this?
And they already got the clout,
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, we would regret it. Again, we've gone so far now, between having actors and artists and big CEOs on it. We would know now. We're in too deep to where if we didn't go all the way to see where this could go, we would live with regret rest of our life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's enough room for everybody to have success, I think. Because I mean, the world is so big. Like with artists, they talk about artists being competitive and stuff. And yeah, sometimes it is a competition, but like we all have different fan bases, and we all have different goals and whatnot. So it's really just the matter of, like, finding your tribe and finding your group of people that support you, and like just spreading the love.
And speaking of this side of it, I always want to, a lot of people, as they see the glory of a Blake Shelton, of a Carrie, of a Miranda, and all that, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes, not just to get to their level, but even a career level within the music world. I always want to talk about it because I think it's such an important topic, because a lot of people, they step into this crazy journey in entertainment, and they have these myths in their head. I'm different. I'm going to just get out there. People love me. I've already got a little bit of a following. it'll be easy. And it's not. And in fact, to kind of lead us where this, I'm going to tell a quick story of back in 2014, we interviewed Allison Steele from Two Steel Girls.
Yeah.
And at that time, they were full-time with music. And I remember asking Allison, what advice would you give an up-and-coming artist? But I'll never forget what she said. She said, this may sound funny coming from someone full-time, but if you can see yourself doing something else, go do that and just keep this as a hobby. She goes, because the moment you want it to be a career, you have to be all in. There is no turning back. You no longer own your own life. Everybody around you kind of owns a piece of you. Your friends and relatives never understand. They invite you to weddings, the cookouts, the weekends, the holidays. But when you're in that grind mode, that beginning stages of your career, you have to say no to almost everything, and they don't understand that. Yeah. Then your family has to sacrifice. They have to be willing to share you with the world and kind of be happy for you for it, even though they're not. But at the same time, she went on to say, if you cannot see yourself doing anything else, then go all in. That's the only way that those kind of sacrifices could ever be worth it. What do you think of what she said? Let's talk about that side of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with her. Just for me, like I've experienced that. I've missed events. I missed my best friend's bachelorette party years ago because I was offered an opportunity to open up for an artist.
Oh, wow. And
luckily, she totally understood, I was able to do that. But, I'm married. So obviously, we don't get to see a lot of each other. He works a full-time job, plus he's a head coach for a high school lacrosse team. So he's constantly, busy, and I'm constantly busy. And we do sacrifice that time together. And sometimes we can't make it to one another's.
Someone calling.
I'm talking about.
There you go.
Sorry. Anywho,
no problem.
We have to sacrifice some times to be able to go play these shows and to travel and just sacrificing time together. And I think that was kind of nice with COVID, was that it forced us to be together, stuck in a house for a year, and hey, we survived COVID. But
it forced everybody to live how we've always lived.
Right? Yeah. It totally is true. If you're in it to win it, like you gotta, you're gonna miss events and people's lives, and you just have to hope and pray that they understand that, like, right now you gotta do what you can. And because I said earlier that we're all in this to win it, and we want to support each other, but you also have to remember that, like, if I don't take this opportunity that was given to me, they're going to go find somebody else.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want that spot taken from you, and lucky for me, my family is very supportive, and my dad works as my manager, and he helps me book shows and stuff. So he's, both of my parents are very in it to win it too. So they're usually with me at a lot of my shows and when I'm traveling and stuff like that. So it's a hard career to be in, that's for sure. When it comes,
it takes a special person and special family.
It does.
Absolutely. Growing, when I had finally decided that this is what I wanted to do before I met my husband, I had dated guys that were like, so when are you going to get a new job, or like a real job?
Wow.
When are you going to stop doing this fun thing that, that's a hobby? And I was like, oh, well, I didn't realize that what I did wasn't a real job, and
yes,
and it's just
but it's like, see you later.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened, and then I met my husband.
So see, another blessing came out of it. So it was good that they showed their true colors before you really became something big.
Yeah.
Because again, that's the thing about all this. I hate it for a lot of artists. You watch what they go through, and then the families on them are not supportive and all that. And I'll be honest, even what we do, if she didn't support this, I don't know if I could do it.
Right. Well, y'all are a team, and I think it makes it even more special, sometimes when I'm at home, like writing or I'm just like practicing for a show, Drew will come in and he'll be like, "Oh, I want to play," because he plays guitar and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
So like we'll just like doodle around together and whatnot. But sometimes I'm like, I'm trying to work, and he's like, "No, I want to play too." But I don't know if we could actually work in music together. We have fun on the side. So.
That's good.
So we talked a little bit about the sacrifice, the struggles that an artist goes through. Now let's go flip the script and go the other way. Talk about the glory side. What are some moments where you're like, wow, I got to do that, or wow, that happened?
Yeah. Well, speaking of doors like being closed on you that we were talking about earlier, I'd had the opportunity to open for a big artist. And all of a sudden, it was just kind of pulled away from me. And they decided to let a male act open for them instead, which is fine. I'm not salty about it. But I ended up going to the show just to support. It was a decent crowd. It was fun. Yeah. And then I ended up, because they had removed me from that, they were like, "We owe you. Like, we're going to give you like a spot." And I ended up opening for a sold out crowd for Chase Rice. So I ended up having a bigger headliner to open up for, a better turnout, and it was just like the absolute time of my life. And I think it was back in April of, when was it? 2016, I think is when that was.
Wow.
So that was a really big moment for me, and we had a blast. And just like releasing music, and this new single that's out right now has been super exciting, because I wasn't sure how people would take it. It's a little it's a little edgy for a woman singing about, but everyone has been just like, it's been doing so.
Since I forgot to ask again, I guess you're not prepared to play, are you?
Oh, I've got my guitar if needed.
We would love that.
Because I forgot that. Again, I was like, after we started, I forgot to ask. So
I'm always prepared.
That's great.
We'll let you take over now. Tell us a little bit about the song you're going to play, and the floor is yours.
Yeah. So this is my newest single, "Praying to the Whiskey." I wrote this with my dad about 3 years ago when I just first moved to Nashville. This is kind of just an introductory song to the world that my dad is a writer, and it's basically it's talking about drinking whiskey, but the idea behind it was dealing with that devil and angel on your shoulder and trying to do the right thing. And sometimes we let the bad side, get a hold of us, and we like to have a little extra fun. But I'm gonna play it for you guys. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Sorry, he knows I'm in our interview. I don't know why he keeps calling me.
That's funny.
Unless he doesn't remember. But this is "Praying to the Whiskey," and it's on all streaming platforms. If I could talk, all platforms. Spotify, iTunes, all that jazz. So
awesome.
Jim, Jack, Johnny, and Crow, those 4 apostles shaded my soul. That's pretty rough company for a Catholic girl like me to keep. But they were right by me. My mama would fade if she knew these things. That her daughter, you see. But what can I say? God made me this way. You better pray for me. One bread in the rosary, he just ain't enough for me. Baptize me in the brown water, over ice don't get no hotter. Devil's caught, that ain't my father. I won't quit till I hit the bottom. Sunday morning I'll be on my knees, but tonight you can find me. Pray to the whiskey. stand behind the bar. Well, he's my preacher till he yells last call. I'm a sinner, but I don't mean no harm. I'll be confessing till the liquor's all gone. While I'm bread in the rosary, it just ain't enough for me. Baptize me in the brown water, over ice don't get no hotter. Devil's got that ain't my father. I won't quit till I hit the bottom. Sunday morning I'll be on my knees. Tonight you can find me praying to the whiskey. Yeah, yeah. Jim said giant crow, Mother Mary, save my soul. While bread in the rosary, it just ain't enough for me. Baptized me in the brown water, over ice don't get no hotter. Devil's cut that ain't my father. I won't quit till I hit the bottom. Sunday morning I'll be on my Sunday morning I'll be on my knees. Bring it to the, bring it to the, bring it to the whiskey. Yeah, yeah. Bring it to the whiskey. Yeah, yeah.
Love it. Great job.
Well, thank y'all.
And you say that song's doing pretty good so far?
Yeah, it has been just like crazy popular, which is so exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of people have kind of known this as like a signature song for me.
Oh wow!
So
Wow.
and I've been playing it, you know, around wherever I go, you know, Nashville, Kentucky, wherever I'm traveling, and people are like, "When are you releasing it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." So 3 years later, here we go.
You're finally like, okay, we'll put
time.
it out.
Yeah, right.
So as you know, a lot of people, they see you as the artist, but they don't see the teams behind you.
Right.
And in our opinion, they don't get the love they deserve.
Oh my gosh, absolutely not.
But on our show, we want them to get some love. So if you want to take a few moments just to tell us about the team that helps you tick.
Yeah, like I said, my dad was the co-writer on that, but him and I write a lot together. We've got a handful of songs that I play out all the time that I plan on releasing eventually as well, and that people seem to really like. I've got my mama, who is my biggest cheerleader, but my dad also helps me book shows. He helps me with sound, you know, run sound. He's been running the sound for me and Audra at our on our tour right now.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, setting up equipment, tearing down equipment. He's the one who found us our sponsors for this tour, and he's just been unbelievable. Like, my dad is very good with the business side of stuff, so it's been a complete blessing with that, because as an artist, like, I don't want to do that kind of stuff. I don't like talking money. I don't like the business stuff.
And at least you can trust him.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big thing for me. You know, in the music business, it's hard to find people you trust. So I'm lucky to have my dad.
Yeah, it's definitely cutthroat.
Yeah. And, you know, my husband has always been a big supporter of mine. And he's also one of those people that kind of helps me, keeps my, you know, head leveled. You know, if he doesn't like something or he doesn't think something sounds good, he's not like some husbands that are like, "Oh, great job, babe." He's like, "That was terrible. You need to do this." Or like, you know, he's very big into music. You know, his dad was a musician as well, so like he's been surrounded by it his whole life, and so he's very good with like helping me. You know, when I'm practicing with music, like if I'm not delivering it the way it should be, he's like, "You need to put more emotion into it," you know, and maybe, you know, accentuate this kind of thing, or, you know, pull back here. And then, you know, my co-writers, I've written so much this past year, and, you know, a lot of the music that I'm going to be releasing here soon is, you know, they aren't solo writes. I've had great co-writers help me write those, and my producer, Jason Wyatt, he produced Good Taste. He produced this one, Praying to the Whiskey.
wow.
He actually produced another song that I'm going to be releasing later this year that I'm super excited about. But yeah, you know, it's definitely not just a one person team, you know, like there's a lot of people back there helping me out, and
and of course your fans.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. I can't even like begin to like thank them for how much support I've gotten from them, and having them to, you know, spread my music for me and to share my videos and my live streams, and just, you know, following me on social media. It's such a blessing, and I'm so grateful for it, you know, and so they make it all worthwhile, all the hard work.
Awesome. Yeah, and speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our 9-year-old that we bring on. And, and he's going to ask a couple questions, because the very first time we came in, he asked one question, but he's going to ask a couple questions.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Sandy's going to get him. And you know, as you know, we got a 2-year-old little daughter that when she gets older, we'll be plugging her into the show too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. You got to make it a family business. It makes it more
special.
Well,
I always joke that we're a family affair. And because I've said that so much, we're creating the name Family Affair Media.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes. That makes so much sense. I love it. Love it.
Yeah. Because again, you know, what is good of doing anything great out there if you're not able to involve your family?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
because as you grow in what you do, eventually you'll be able to take on tour your family with you, which would be cool.
Yeah, you know, and I know some people don't like to mix business and family, and I totally understand. But for me, like, I don't think it would make much sense not to have my family be a part of it. It's how it started. My dad has had my back since the very beginning, so like I couldn't imagine him not being there.
Yep.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. So what's your favorite food?
What's my favorite food?
Yes.
Oh, I really love donuts. And this is going to sound totally weird. Donuts and sushi. Those are probably like my favorite.
And what's yours?
Pizza.
Pizza? Oh, what kind?
Pepperoni and sausage. Ooh, and a supreme one.
And the supreme one, he says.
Yes.
Are you a thin crust or a thick crust?
Would you like the thicker crust? Yeah.
The thicker crust.
Me too. I'm all about the thick crust. Yes.
Okay, so what is your favorite TV show?
Ooh, I've been really on this Yellowstone kick. I love Yellowstone. I also was watching Below Deck for a while, which is like a crazy reality TV show. But you just can't stop watching it. It's like a train wreck, but you just can't look away.
Wow.
And what's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob.
That's a classic. I grew up watching that too.
We all did.
Right? Is it still on?
Yeah, it's still going.
And there's gonna be a new episode tonight.
Wow. Lord, he is on top of it.
What's been pretty cool with our show is because he watches a lot of Nickelodeon shows now. So we've been able to bring a lot of actors from his shows onto our show, so he's been able to talk to them.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I wish I'd have had that when I was little, right?
Right?
Another question?
Yes. Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
Ooh, I've got a few. My favorite, like, cheesy love film is probably A Walk to Remember.
Oh, that's a good one.
The first time I saw it, I watched it 6 times in a row. And then and then probably like my favorite just like movie in general is Bridesmaids. I can quote it. It's really bad how many times I've seen that movie.
And what's yours?
Mine is the Minion movie.
The Despicable Me.
Despicable Me
too. I love those movies.
And see, he's got the Minions. Stand up.
Yeah, you have a Minion t-shirt? Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I love anything like Pixar and Disney. So like when the Minion movies came out, I was like obsessed. And my husband was like, "You have a problem."
And our 2-year-old loves that. She dances when the music comes on. And if we're in the mall or something and she sees one of the Minions, she just
Squeals.
laughs and squeals and
How can
points.
you not? They're like giant talking Twinkies. It's like fantastic,
Yes,
right?
they're cool.
And she really don't do this now, but what's funny is she created this little habit for about a month or two,
Mhm.
a little phase to where, and she caught one part of the Despicable Me where they turn purple.
Right.
And they did this whole little with their mouth. And so every time she would see a Minion, she would make that sound. It was just the cutest thing.
That's adorable. Oh yes, no, those movies are so cute. Like I am all about the kids movies.
Yes.
Like
Bye, thanks.
yes, good to see you.
See you too.
You see, we're having him grow a little bit on the show.
He's great.
Because I
Hard
think
hitting questions too.
because of course the first time it was just the first one
Right.
question. Now it's 3.
Now he can handle 3.
Right? Yeah. That's awesome.
Again, when you're live on, live, you're like, okay, let's make sure it's right.
Right. You're like,
He's a
don't
little
ask
pro.
anything crazy.
So if you could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm a huge Miranda Lambert fan.
Oh,
wow.
she's amazing.
I would love to write with her, but I'd also really love, like, maybe to write with Ashley McBride.
That would be cool.
That would be good.
You like edgy, huh?
Yeah, I do. I like the edgy people. That's my jam. But Chris Stapleton would be another one for me too.
Oh, yes.
That his voice is just like it's like an angel. I love his stuff. He's so good. So probably like one of those 3.
Now this probably has 1,000 answers, but just think of the first thing that pops in your head. What is a song you've heard that you wish you wrote?
Ooh, Tin Man by Miranda.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one.
I love that song.
That is my absolute favorite song of any genre, of any artist. It's probably one of the #1 songs I get requested to sing, and I am happy to do it every time.
Yeah.
So somebody talked about on the thing that they loved you.
Oh yes, okay, Grown Spring a few years ago. Yes. Hey girl, what's up? I believe that we met at Frankie's is what Anastasia was talking about. I played at a little pizza spot down in Spring Hill.
Oh wow.
And they've got the best pizza, y'all. But so if y'all are down there, take your son to get pizza down there since he loves pizza so much. She had 2 little girls with her, and I love getting to meet kids at my shows, especially young girls who like love to sing and stuff too. And that was a fun show. We had a good time.
So what's one of your favorite fan stories?
Yes.
Ooh, fan stories. There's a lot of them. Yeah. How do I pick one?
Well, just pick one that kind of stay in a
Yeah.
Y'all have to be or a couple. I mean,
Yeah. Let's see. What probably back to when I mentioned earlier I got to open for Chase Rice. Once I got off stage, there were some people that I knew that I didn't know were coming out to the show. And then there were some new people that had never seen me before, but they had heard that like a female artist was going to be opening. So they came out and
oh wow.
They just like ran up to me when I got off stage and they're like, "Oh my God, you're amazing." And I'm like, "Hi." I'm so glad you like came early enough to watch the opening act kind of thing. Cause sometimes people don't do that. And the place was packed. So it was so much fun getting to like meet all those exciting fans that were like, "Oh my gosh, like you're from my hometown," or we heard a female artist was going to be here. So we knew we had to see it, see you and stuff. And so that was probably like a special night for me just because I got to meet, a lot of new fans, but I also just people that I'd known growing up that knew I was going to be there. And they were like, "Let's see what she's got," and because I've always been like, with people I'm comfortable with, like I'm loud and outgoing. But if you don't know me, I'm pretty reserved and I'm usually just like a people watcher. So I think for some people who don't know me like that, they're very surprised when they see what I do. And they get super excited because they're like, we had no idea, you know.
Oh wow.
Is that tough when you open for people like Chase Rice and other people like him, where you have their fans that are there to try to warm them up? Is that tough for you?
At first, before you step on stage, it's a little nerve-wracking. It's not so much anymore. I say that now, but like I'll have an opportunity where I'm gonna like lose my mind. But it's one of those things where you just kind of have to be like, it's game time. Like there's no time to mess around. Like you gotta show. You only got one shot, right? And you gotta get on that stage and you gotta show those people what you got. And you've got to get them ready because that's your job. You're kind of like the hype man, right? And you want to get them ready to party, get them ready to rock and roll, and I love it. I feed off that energy. I think that's my favorite part about this career is being on stage. Wow. I feel like that is where I'm like my most authentic, and like I truly like come alive. And so for me, getting to open up for like people like that, it's like, let's do this. Let's get them ready. Like, and you want them to be like, man, I want her to stay on stage. Like, like,
that's what you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want to stay and watch her. So.
Yeah, our show is kind of like that for me. Cause again, I get nervous sometimes before the show, and it's like then the countdown comes, and then it's game time. It's like, okay, like you said, we got one shot to make this.
Right,
I guess 2 shots here since we had technical difficulties, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
That was just practice. It's fine.
Right.
So back in 2015, we interviewed Kelsey Ballerini, and I asked her where she wanted to be in 5 years. I always like to tell this story before I ask artists that same question, because the answer she gave us is almost to the T of what she's living now. I mean, 5-6 years later, you couldn't have put a perfect picture of what she said versus where she's at.
Yeah.
Knowing that, where do you want to be in 5 years?
In 5 years, for me, success would be, I want to play the Grand Ole Opry. I want to be at the CMA Awards. I want to be at the ACM Awards and, nominated for, I guess 5 years from now. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how old I'll be, and I'm not going to tell you all how old I am. But, maybe I'm.
Hey, I'll be 50 in August, so.
Yes, he's got a big birthday this year.
That's so exciting. But, to be like, nominated for best female vocalist or best new female artist, to be on that Opry stage, standing in that circle, to have my Opry debut. Hopefully it happens before 5 years, but to be, invited to be a member of the Grand Ole Opry and to be on tour, like full time, and travel the world. I've never been out of the country besides like on a cruise, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
But to go do like a European tour and stuff. So I've got a lot of big dreams and big goals, but I'm loving the ride, and I'm just going to keep doing what I need to do to make it happen.
Now let's look even further down the road, say 15 years down the road, and let's say you're a success on a grand scale. Whatever that looks like, you're there. If the person you are today could meet her, your future successful self, what would you want to remind her?
I would want to say, take a breath and remember that you don't have to be going 100 miles an hour, because I'm so bad about that. I get into this headspace where if I like even have just like one day off, I'm like, I need to be working. I need to be doing something to further my career because everyone else is working this day, and I get so like, into the zone sometimes that I forget that it's okay to have a life outside of your career and to enjoy the process. So really just to be like, hey, relax. It's all going to work out. You keep working hard, doing your thing, but also remember to like make those memories, with your loved ones, and to have fun, and not everything has to be so serious.
Right. Yeah. So how would you describe your music to someone who's never heard it before?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Well, when people ask about my sound, I always joke around that, like, imagine if Chris Stapleton and Susan Tedeschi had a baby and then they let Miranda Lambert raise it.
So, good one.
Love that.
It's a lot of, I'm a country artist, but I got a lot of soul and a lot of grit and a lot of Southern rock influence, too. So it's a little edgy. It's not your typical pop country artist. I'm in your face, and I'm, kind of like Miranda and Ashley, like, this is me and I'm not apologizing for it.
Oh, love that. And what would you like for your legacy to be as an artist? What would you ultimately like to be known for?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. For me, music is, I love performing, being on stage, but a lot of it is connecting with fans. So I definitely think that, like, for me, I want to be remembered as, like, the artist that, like, when she gets on stage, not only is she giving her fans her all, she's connecting with them on a deeper level. Like, yeah, we're going to have fun with our party songs and stuff, but I also write stuff that has a little bit of a deeper meaning. And, I want people to be able to connect and to relate, whether or not it's the exact same situation they went through or, it's just something similar. I really want to be able to say that, like, or have people say that when I heard Taylor sing or I listened to her music, I connected with it. I felt like we were friends, or I felt like she understood what I was going through, kind of thing.
Love that. So as we come to a close here, let's say you had a friend of yours and you heard him or her sing and they've got something special. As Simon Cowell would say, they have that it factor. But they've played maybe 40 or 50 shows and they're still getting their feet wet on the performance side. But they've gotten on stage, like what every artist says, that stage bug where they look over the crowd's roaring for them, and they know they're in the right place. And they come to you and they say, Taylor, I know I'm called to do this. I know I'm supposed to do this the rest of my life. What advice would you give that specific person to kind of help guide them the next few years?
Yeah, I've since moving to Nashville, I've kind of encountered people like that, and obviously, when I first moved there were people who were that for me. But honestly, I'm just like, keep your head on straight. Make sure that you find your tribe, find your group, and because it is hard to do, but, like, once you get those people around you, keep them close. Make sure that you're supporting each other's successes and being there for one another when, maybe something doesn't work out. But always just stay focused and remember to never compare yourself. That is a big thing.
That's I think a big one.
Yeah, you should never compare yourself. And I've learned that a lot. Only being in Nashville for 3 years, when I first got down there, obviously my first reaction was to be like, oh my God, well, I don't sound like that, or I don't dress that way,
Yeah, because comparison breeds insecurities.
Yeah, exactly. And, who wants to be a copy of someone? You want to be an individual, you want to be unique. And that's kind of what I started to embrace about what I deliver to the table, is that I don't sound like most female. And y'all still hearing? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
And for me, I pride myself on that. But a lot of, just stay focused, surround yourself with the right people, and never compare your journey to somebody else's, because everyone has a different story. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has a different talent to offer,
Yeah. Love that. So as we close here, tell everybody how they can reach out to you.
Yeah. Well, you guys can find me on Facebook at Taylor Hughes Music. I'm on Instagram at Taylor Hughes Music. You can find my 2 singles that I have out right now, Good Taste and Praying to the Whiskey. They're on all streaming and download platforms. I just recently joined TikTok. So that's Taylor Hughes Official. And then I'm also on Twitter at @Hughes_music. And then we've been doing some rebranding and stuff. So we are working on the website, which will be taylorhughesmusic.com. but yeah, Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, Twitter, those are like the main places to follow me right now.
Well, it's funny, we've never done nothing, but we do have a TikTok account. But
I'm trying to get into it. It is so hard because like I just think about it because I'm so into like Instagram and Facebook. Eventually.
Yes.
We know that. So you know what? We really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we look forward to having you back again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so grateful that you all made time for me. I really do appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Bye.
You too, guys.